Yeah, so it was around about 2007, 8. I was doing some freelance publishing work with a friend of mine called Jack Jackson at Polite Publishing. I was brought on as a kind of curator and helping out with the distribution, and we were working with artists to reproduce their work as postcard sets, greeting cards, badges, plectrums. It was a kind of form of what I saw as like publishing curating. So I had very much this kind of artist curator head on with it. And we were working with some fantastic artists ranging from like David Shrigley, Bob and Roberta Smith, Peter Blake, photographers such as Kevin Cummins, Bill Drummond from the KLF. There's a big list of artists we're working with. And we decided to add more artists to our canon, Magda Archer as a part of that. The other artist we were really interested in was Stella Vine. So Stella Vine is semi-associated with the Stuckist movement and young British artists, but she does these very sort of expressionistic images from the mass media and from popular culture. So in the selection, alongside people like Kurt Cobain and Pete Doherty, we really liked the Wonder Woman and Superman paintings that she produced. So we've done a contract with her and we got her permission and we worked with her to use her images and produce them as greeting cards and postcards, etc. And again, we primarily mainly sold the cards in gallery bookshops, but as they become popular and so on and so forth, we decided to start distributing them to bookshops and record shops. So we basically had the Stella Vine cards out there. Maybe a couple of weeks later, we got rather large fax from Warner Brothers informing us that we were basically infringing both the copyright and the trademark of Wonder Woman and Superman, which surprised us because obviously we were coming from an artistic perspective and we were under the understanding that artists who produce work, it's their interpretation and they're allowed to do that because it's material out in the world. And we had her rights. We didn't really feel that it was copyright infringement. In the fax that we had sent over, there was a very clear statement that we were infringing both the copyright and the trademark of which they owned of those DC characters. But also, another thing, it was also to do with the actors that were performing as those superheroes, so Linda Carter and the late Christopher Reeves. Now, obviously, much the wiser, and we are familiar that if you do mass reproduce another artist's work, if it's an interpretation of like Superman or Wonder Woman, you will be liable. Yeah, I think when we had the facts through, initially we actually thought it was a little bit of a joke, but once we realised it was real and it was serious, we were a little bit taken aback and we were a little bit worried. But at the same time, because I mentioned I had a little tiny bit of knowledge about copyright, and I felt a little bit confident if we were just if we were just dead honest, not saying it's necessarily our fault, but just telling the story of how it come about. The damages they were asking for was about $250,000, which is something we definitely didn't have. But we kind of sat down, spoke about it. We spoke to Stella Vine. She explained her situation. Said, "But I'm not copyright infringement. You must produce it. It was on our heads." So we just thought we'd just do a very short, succinct email directly to Warner Brothers, quick as possible, very simple. We just said we're a small artist setup in the UK, primarily selling art galleries where people will be buying the work as Stella Vine paintings, not as Wonder Woman or Superman. And we will recall them. We will let you know what profits we've had and we can give you those profits. And luckily, we didn't have to go to court. We didn't have to have any legal entanglements with Warner Brothers, because I guess they must have saw two artists, trying to make a way, publishing. We managed to do a very, very nominal fee settlement out of court, which eventually they actually waived that as well. So we were very lucky. But yeah. So, of course, we had to recall the cards. So there was a loss occurred there. But yeah, it could have been a lot worse.